Hi, I'm Lori with Interior Design Community, and this is To the Trade. And I have Niall here. Hi, Niall.
Hi.
How has it been?
Good. Cold, but
Good.
good. This
I
weather's really
know.
crazy in
I
Philly, so
know. It's
yeah.
cold here too. It's supposed to be spring, but it's not. It's
It's
a
not.
bummer,
It has
bummer.
not sprung yet. Yeah, no.
Yes. But I
Weird.
was just in New York City at ICFF, and that was pretty amazing. We got perfect weather. We did an interior design community event with Oriforce and SKS, Signature Kitchen Suite, Signature Kitchen. And we did this like beautiful event where we had Christina Richardson come in and talk about international design and what it takes to do an international design project. I recorded that. And then we got to see all the different collections from Oriforce and Costa Boda. And Oriforce gifted the designers a set of glasses, which was pretty amazing.
That's
And
pretty
then
cool.
I know everybody was shocked because we didn't tell anybody until, of course, they got their bags and they were
Oh,
so
that's
excited.
so cool.
They were very thrilled. And of course, they actually did this beautiful floral arrangement thing that was just stunning. They have this one vase that has, this that just like crackles. They kind of I think that they have to dip it in cold water and then it just crackled and the whole thing just sparkles and it was pink and they did these beautiful flowers in it and they sold several of those that day. And then we had this beautiful dinner downstairs. So we had to come up the elevator and you had to get through security to go to their showroom. It was like by appointment only. And then we
Mhm.
came down and there was a restaurant in the same building called Mark's on Madison and it was a dinner with Signature Kitchen Suite. We did like this huge, like 20 designers just gabbing about design. And it was just magical, perfect temperature, perfect, it was not rain. I was watching that forecast, like,
Yeah,
and it
yeah. It was
like
beautiful. Yeah.
suggested rain, then no rain. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe
Weather
this
did
turned
work
out
out that day.
perfectly. And everything
Yeah.
went well. And ICFF was actually, some years it's been less than less, not just so super contemporary furniture. And this year it was like amazingly beautiful and lots of wonderful collections. So that was fantastic. But we're here with an amazing guest that I'm so excited to talk to. Eryn, please introduce yourself. You and I have kind of crossed paths a million times, and I've been absolutely a fan of your work. But tell us a little bit about you and your
You
firm.
are amazing, Lori. Thank you for what you do for the community. Thank you for your support over the years. I'm Eryn Oruncak. I am an interior designer in Great Falls, Virginia, which is right outside Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yay. And I'm an expert in neuroaesthetics. And I truly believe that neuroaesthetics is going to not only change the way people view their homes, but also elevate the design industry because we create those homes.
You know, I would say I'd heard first about neuroaesthetics. I want to think it was back maybe 5 or 6 years ago with Lisa Kahn Allen. She was the first person I heard about it from. I'd not really, and it made so much sense to me. I have a daughter that is neurodivergent and she has a lot of mental health issues and we've really struggled with her through the years, regulating her emotions and things of that nature. And so and I know that Lisa had a similar situation with her daughter. I mean, and so that she used her gift of design skills to solve some of her own like personal family struggles that were going on in her own home. And I remember hearing her talk about it and thinking, wow, this is something that is really going to change lives, but it's at the same time so kind of difficult when you think about it in terms of interior design because only a certain group of people can afford interior design. And this is such a big idea. It actually every human needs this. Every single person on earth needs this. So I love that there are so many designers out there really digging in, really learning. And I think that it will not just benefit designers and design clients, but I think it will benefit all humankind at some point. I mean, this will trickle down to the mainstream and benefit all people, I believe,
It
at some point.
does. It does. We
Yeah.
actually, I have spoken at New York Now. I was invited to speak at New York Now to the retailers, how they can up level their stores to increase sales by 25%, increase traffic. So stores can use these scientific backed principles to work some magic in their stores. I mean, we all are indoors 95% of our lives. So wherever those spaces are, it's our home, it's our school. We're working with schools now to up level the way kids interact with the space. They need to have a relationship with their school, and that will boost motivation, boost learning, boost focus. And some people have a twisted idea about what the kids actually need in their surroundings. So we're trying to talk through some of these concepts to them to say, no, I'm sorry, the kids don't need to be calm right now. They actually need to be activated right now. So please stop trying to calm people down because you're not doing anybody any favors. It's causing confusion.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so we're talking.
What made you, right, what made you start from the very beginning specializing in something this technical?
I wanted to know why. When we walk into a space, we have a feeling, and you both know the feeling. You walk in the space, you're like, oh my God, I love it. I wanted to know what was happening. Why? What is that feeling? What made that happen? That's good for my business. Then we I had it in my house. We have our own laboratory in my house. I decorate for me and my people too. So I try things out. This makes people, when they come over, be relaxed. We don't want them to relax. We want them to be able to sit and have a conversation. So let's design it for that. Switch out the sofa, switch out the rug. Here we go. We just changed our space. So I do science projects. I like science and math. It's a way to validate when we are questioned at the table by why does that cost so much? I have a very factual answer for them. And this is why it costs so much. And this is why I made that decision. But here's the return that you're going to get on your investment. And that seems to be a very pleasant conversation by the time we're done.
I can imagine. I mean, I think that when you're appealing to the, even in sales training, they will teach you, when you're selling to emotion and you're selling to, to increase someone's purpose, sense of life, being, that kind of thing. Those, it's value add, really, value add sales. That is how you actually close deals. So it gives people a reason beyond this is pretty. We all want a beautiful surrounding. No one doesn't, but we don't necessarily, when you say you're going to get better sleep, you're going to, be able to maybe eat less or exercise more or things that you want to do to be a healthier person. Those are things that you're like, okay, wait a minute. That's a different thing than just beautiful surroundings.
We create those spaces that you just said. If they want to lose 10 pounds, we make it easier for them to make beautiful, healthy menus. We do people's offices. My clients get raises and promotions because of the way we set up their space. They have confidence, they have clarity, they have that ability to, stay focused during the day. And we start with, what do you want? What do you need to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
We were in Vogue in January. Vogue asked for psychologists on how do you stick with your New Year's resolutions? And I replied to the writer and said, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a designer, but here's what I do. And we were in January's Vogue, how to stick with your New Year's resolutions. We create the environment that people live. It is us, the designers, who formulate our lives. And there's no doubt about that.
No, there isn't. And I have, so I've studied this quite a bit because I know Linda Kafka, and I've been watching through her program, and I'm spending a lot of time just sort of paying attention to. She did a day-long event with Ann Moore last market, so I watched that and a lot of the different speakers, and it was fascinating to me how deep this science goes. I mean, I know Linda's gone to Switzerland and trained with doctors and scientists there,
lighting.
And they're studying, eye movement, brain waves. I mean, this isn't just, we're testing it and there's actual scientific data to back this up. This is not pseudoscience. This is real. There are real scientists that are in sleep labs and studying how people move through movements and really paying attention over periods of time with large sample sizes and tracking your eye on to see where your eye visually moves in the room, and tracking behaviors and studying how people respond with weight, or those kinds of real reactions. And a lot of people across the world. So this isn't just the U.S. that is working on this. It's worldwide.
The U.S. is behind, Lori. The U.S.
I know.
Is
That's
behind.
fascinating.
We need to catch up.
Right. We do. I think that we've been such a consumer, oriented, country, and not necessarily health and well-being. We're not our main focus. So I think we're starting to realize the impact that our environments, all of our environments, have on our spaces. I know when I was in Barcelona a few years ago, and how they build the buildings in their downtown areas, where on the corners, they shave off the corners so that inside there's this green space in between all of the buildings that are in Barcelona. So everybody has green space and light and those kinds of things. And that it's harder to navigate their streets because you can't just like go to the corner and then cross the street. You have to kind of go, turn, and then cross the street. It's a little bit longer to walk, but it's for the people living in the building. It's designed for the people who live in those buildings so that they have the maximum amount of green space, maximum amount of light. And that's amazing that even years and years ago, people were building, urban planning so that people could have better experiences with their homes. And we just didn't do that. We were like, who cares about the light? Who cares? Let's pack as many people into this area as we possibly can. So I love that this is happening.
It was a reaction. So the people that were building the businesses and the Industrial Revolution, those people had a different kind of mindset when they were constructing, and the architects were given different kind of directives, and it was positive in one way in terms of the evolution of our history. But then that kind of catches up with people in terms of actual health and how that comes out in brain, of the way we learn and the way we work and, the
way we live. In Europe, going to the grocery store by car or by bus or walking is the norm. Even in smaller villages, like going for a few days, getting a few groceries at a time instead of a whole week's worth of everything. You know what I mean?
Yes, those blue zones are incredible. Yeah. So, longevity and really what the basic principles of neuroaesthetics are. It's the way your environment affects your brain and nervous system. So it really is science. Right. The brain reacts to what is happening around them. So when we as designers can tap into that of our clients, that's when the industry as a whole, I think, is going to elevate itself. We're not secondary to architects. We're not secondary to the builders. In fact, when the client leaves, the builder turns to us and says, what are we doing? But in front of the client, oh, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. No, you're not. I'm in charge. Let's all get on that page right there. And you are not going to make more money than me because your work would look nothing without me. So let's get on board and we're all going to come to the table as equal business professionals. And this is the expertise that I am coming to you with right now. Client knows that, builder knows that, architect knows that. And they don't, the architects, I don't want to go off, but the architects they do know about neuroaesthetics. They are coming to the same table as we are. In fact, the architects are ahead of the designers. Lori, whatever you can do, promote the designers, tell them to learn the science, and don't be afraid of it. We do math all day long. We run our businesses. We have to be aware of our numbers, our measurements. All day long is math. Jump into a little bit of science and understand what your client is going to respond to. Science is cool for me.
I love that you just said that you wanted to know the why. I mean, the most interesting people I think I've met in my entire life are people who constantly need to know why. So I think that is so fascinating to me. And, I wanted to know, are you working with scientists yourself to figure this stuff out? Are you trying to, get a master's in it, or trying to do, to educate yourself, or creating a study in your own way to make sure that you're meeting the criteria that the world is setting for this kind of science? I mean, I think that we're going to have to be very careful because in so many industries, like in sustainability industry where greenwashing was happening all the time, and LEED came into play. And even now there are so many struggles to be taken seriously as a designer. How are you specifically working to make sure that this is really taken as seriously as it is?
Of course. In fact, I think I'm one of the leading experts in the industry because I work with the scientists, because we constantly are in communication with these people around the world. That's how I knew that the US is a little bit behind. We're catching up. Here we go.
Right.
But we are in touch with the neuroaesthetic scientists, the researchers, the ones who are gaining that and scientific evidence. Lori, I'm sorry, I have to work. So I can't do a scientific thing.
I get it.
And I lend my data to them to say,
well, sometimes that's the thing is they're not running a real project
right.
or talking to real clients. I mean, in some ways they are. I'm sure that they have study groups and things like that but they're not really in the hands of a person who's relying on them to fix their home the same way an interior designers are. And for years and years and years, I've always felt like interior designers care so much about the outcome of the project, I would say almost more than even the profit, which is kind of terrible. We all do care about making money, but we care about the outcome of the project almost more than that. And, when I say you guys are stewards of perfection, I feel like you are. You're the first person to be like, nope, that was done incorrectly. No, that needs to change. Oh, no. And you'll eat it. You'll often be the only one on the project that'll be like, no, we have to change it. If I have to take the hit, I'll take the hit. It has to be
happened
right.
And just happened. And
I know.
Here's the thing:
does.
when stuff goes sideways on a project, everybody looks to the designer and says, "What do we do? Oh no! How do we fix this? Oh my gosh!" So when that happens, we need to turn around and say, "No problem," because Lori, honestly, that is the case. And I'm trying to, stop doing that myself. Like, dude, this is your house, not mine. So you need to be aware. Right. You need to manage your builder. You need to manage your materials. I'm here. I can do that, but it's in our contract now. We're not responsible. Sorry. You have to get it. You can't, we're not going to pay for your house. That's not fair. And perfection is one thing.
Right.
The excellence of the project is another, because that's a representation of us and our work and our company. However, when you
Right.
get to a point, you need to make sure that you have a company first and foremost. So if you start paying for everything, that's when the doors start closing and the walls start closing in. And we've been there too. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's okay. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. We don't do that anymore. And here's why. Because I come to the table with solid value. I have an expertise in what this room is going to do for you. Everybody, builder, architect, designer, stands at the table as equals. If something goes sideways, we're all looking at each other. How are we, team, going to fix this? Not me, not my fault.
Right.
We have, I do believe when designers understand ultimately what we're doing in crafting environments, that is when we are all going to rise as a profession. And I'm here for it. I want us to be
I love that.
great,
Crafting environments.
successful.
Love it.
I'm
Yeah.
us. I'm us. So I'm here fighting for us every day, fighting for me, fighting for my business, fighting for Elon Design, and fighting for all the designers out there, because we have the most value on a project because we control everything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so much that you are touching, and there's so much that is dependent on that outcome. Like, so how do you balance the aesthetics appeal of the project with the psychological needs of the client? How do you look at is this an interview process? Are you asking the client a lot of questions that lead you to create that aesthetic environment? How do you do that?
So yes, a million questions, but not in a transactional way. We start with essentially the closet. Please show me your lucky dress. Show me your favorite piece of clothing that you wear, that you have you are the man that night. You own that place when you walk in. Show me that. Is that a shirt? I don't care what it is. Is that a shirt, the pants, the socks, the tie, a jacket, a scarf? Just show me when you put that on. You am right here. That kicks me off. That kicks me off, because then we can talk about that. Where were you? What happened? Why is that your lucky dress? I have a lucky dress. I had a ball that night, just saying. But
I love that. I do too. Now that you said it, I do too.
Okay. So you that feeds your molecules. We start from there. I want to make you strong and in yourself. Tell me why. What did you eat? What did you smell? Where did you walk? What happened? What was going on in the background? Was it, so we talk about that. Tell me about this piece. And then they start talking. And it was like, oh my gosh, and the artwork was great. Check. Oh my gosh, the lighting was beautiful. Check. Oh my gosh, and I was so comfy, and we were huddling up on this love seat. Check. Okay, so we start to recreate this magical moment and this magical environment that they're telling me this. I was so happy. I was so strong. I felt amazing. And then we can go from there. Let's tweak it. So that's one way. Another way is, we know the rules of interior design. Lighting. Number one hardest working element in a space. You could have a gorgeous
I
sofa.
know.
But if your room is not well lit, nobody's going to go into that room. So
That's right.
lighting
So true.
carries. So lighting is key. And
I just found this thing. So I found this, there was this viral video that went on a while ago, and I work with different companies online. So, in the industry. So, and it's a light temperature meter
Yay.
thing, and they put it over paint and they just clicked it and it changes the paint like you would not believe. I mean, like even my skin, like
is that a 5?
it changes everything and it just changes the color, and it's just so crazy. But it's this little light thing, and it's up it's for color temperature. And I showed it to designers, and everyone was freaking out because yes, you could all use that for clients to show them this is how it changes. Like it's not just the light; it's the temperature of the light, it's the kelvins of the light, it's how you all program it so that it's the perfect light for that client.
Kelvins and lumens and linears.
I don't think clients know that you do that. I don't think that they even understand that this is the level of thought and detail that designers are thinking.
Well, here,
about.
I'll tell you something. Knowing about neuroaesthetics, I was just at a really fancy party, and the house was phenomenal. Great designer, wonderful. The lighting was horrible. They just didn't tend to it. They just didn't tend to it. But here's what happened. People left early. People left early. They
Right.
don't know why, but it's a little vexing. They're kind of confused. They didn't see what was happening. Oh, we're just going to go. Thanks so much. It was awesome. This was great. The party ended 35 minutes early. But I knew. I saw people with I knew it. Because I also was trying to find the corner that it wasn't doing that.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that the clients really get that's all of that you're doing. So can you tell me a project that you've worked on so far that you introduced this concept to your client and how that turned out? I'd love to hear, like, how did that work? And did they think this was crazy? Because I mean, this is not something that they know about. Were they receptive to the idea of science and design, and how did you introduce it to the client, and how did you implement the procedures into the project?
You don't understand. They get it on the back end, like,
Because sometimes I would think, I'm just thinking about the average everyday American person. If someone comes in and says neuroaesthetics, I'm going to think they're going to do Reiki on me or something. I'm just going to be like, okay, all right, this is a little kooky. Not that Reiki is kooky, but I just like, is it really going to work for me? Is it really something that's going to make my life better? Or is this just an upcharge? You know what I mean? I think that would make me a little suspicious.
When we have the relationship, okay, so my goal is to create a relationship from the person to the space. That's the goal.
Right.
In the space, all of those elements have a relationship to each other. You know that's the case. Something right. Needs, they all need to work together. They all need to complement each other. They all have that. So in the space, there's a relationship. Relationships are all over the place. We also take them through our process. That relationship, they feel that throughout the whole time. So things are pleasant, very transparent. We tell them what's going on. We tell them, we check in with them every week and say, this is going on, that's going on, everything is fine, wonderful, everything is great. Once we are installing that project, they feel so happy already and excited, and they had the materials in their hands, and they have this elevated way of being already, just creating that room. That room is guaranteed to bring that back to them that elevated way of being. That's what we put into it. That's what you get out of it. It's science. But and energy. So we're all energy and matter. So that actually happens. There is scientific evidence that that actually happens. I won't sit here and go through it with you. But
Oh, sure.
but the thing is, when we remind them throughout the process, here's neuroaesthetics, here you go, neuroaesthetics. This is why you're responding to that in a way. This is why you have that clarity. This is why you have that pleasant feeling. This is neuroaesthetics. If I show them a pattern on a fabric and they put the fabric down, they don't like it. Here, quickly, when you like something, you lean into it. Here's dopamine right here, front and center. Front and center, you like it, you lean into it, you want to touch it, connect it. You want to be with that thing. You want to connect with that thing. When you don't like something, back of your brain, your amygdala and motor cortex activates and you back away. Get me out of here. Okay? It's a reaction. You know, when you smell something and it doesn't smell very good, you go like that. That's a reflex.
Yeah.
So your body is taking care of you without you even knowing it. I'm out of here.
Well, I love that. And listeners, you better be paying attention to that because you can really view your clients' micro reactions to those, to way, you know, the way they're reacting to the materials. And that could definitely speed the process up of what you select for them.
100%.
I'm sure. Just really reading your client.
And keep it on the level. Keep it on that high professional level. I see you like that. Oh, I do like that. I can tell. Oh, I see you don't like that. Give it to me. We're going to get that away from you. You're the protection. You're on their team. You want the best for them. That communication, that observation, communication, and interaction with your client, within 4 seconds, you are the hero or not. And that is where the neuroaesthetics, you see them reacting, you know what's happening, and you can massage not only the project, but the process.
Yeah. I think that that's the key there, because I think that there are sometimes the client, you know, there are some clients that would really, really respond to this. You know, people who already have a science background would probably respond to it. People who already are into aesthetics and lifestyle, you know, the lifestyle part of aesthetics would be responsive to this. But there are a certain group of people that wouldn't get it. And this is a great way to show them what it is through the process. I love that you say the client through the process, well, this is why you're reacting to that. And it just brings it back to a person who might not really truly understand the science and design, but this is still, you're affected by it. And this is how you're affected by it. And every time you do it, they realize that the training that you have is impacting the work that they're getting, right?
Yep. Is there ever a place where something else gets in the way of a natural reaction, a natural neuroaesthetic reaction? Like sometimes somebody has a story that they tell themselves about something like, oh, I don't like velvet because velvet reminds me, maybe they're, you know, generations before them say velvet is like a funeral home. And they've always told themselves that story. But maybe naturally, had they not told themselves that story, they would love velvet, right? Maybe they would naturally be drawn to it. But because they tell themselves that story, they don't even give themselves the opportunity to be open to it. So do you ever run into those situations where they are stuck in a story and so they don't even, and how do you maneuver that? Like, how do you know, okay, this is a natural reaction, or I'm up against someone who is stuck in a story and I've got to sort of manipulate around this to get what the natural reaction is?
So
that's a great question.
Niall, that is the obstacle. It could be a help. It could be a help. And quite honestly, for designers, there's 1,000 options. So just maneuver, just ride it with them. But that, what you are calling a story, is actually the default mode network in our brain. It is what we know to be true. That is the story. That is the culture. That is why we do, like, colors mean something. In some
Okay.
cultures, the color white is beautiful. In other cultures, it means something else. So that is what they know to be true in that default mode network. It's the filter of what that message, how that message lands. So we have to understand their natural reaction to things. We have to understand their default mode network, their what they know to that what they believe to be true. And we have to manage what they need to do. Like, how do they respond? How do they study? How do they learn? How would that make them stand up taller or complete that email? You need to get 5 done in a day. What do we need to craft? Where do you need to sit? How do you need to see? What all of those things. Like, there are so many puzzle pieces that we all work on every single day, dependent and really customized to the client. And yes, those stories are everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that they would be, and they would be very difficult to overcome that,
But
Yeah.
don't,
So
Yeah.
but
certainly
don't
if it's
lean into it.
cultural,
Tell me your
yeah, lean
story.
into it.
Lean into it. Tell me your
Right.
story. What do you know to be true? That this is your house, not mine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And so what role does the sensory part come in, where it's not just they like or what but like how they touch or feel, or is that a big role in this, like texture and smell and all of the other components that are part of the space? I mean, are you layering all of that in?
Yes. In fact, it's
Okay.
very important. That's where these leveled up designers can really show up. That creates what we want to be an enriched environment. Artwork is a huge deal. Artwork affects different lobes of the brain at one time. So there's a symphony going on. I would love for designers to jump into understanding the way color, texture, lines have to do with making your spaces sing. But yes, the sounds are huge. Smell goes right from the olfactory right up to the brain. It's literally the fastest computing sense, the fastest computing sensory data, because it goes right to here to here. So that is something that we want to create, these enriched spaces, so you get the impact of them. There's nothing missing. The brain, I talked to a neurologist in Texas, and she tells me that our brains are essentially lazy. We have so much to do already. When we can make it easy and pleasant is when we can relax and our hormones react in a way that allows us to think clearly, allows us to function. We are in reward area, not survival area. When there's confusion, we're like, what do we have to do now? What's going on? And we're focused on that confusion. If we eliminate the confusion and create a whole space touching on all of the senses, that is a reward for the people when they walk in. That's the feeling when we walk in and we're like, oh my God, I love it. There's a smell, there's a sound, you feel something, there's texture, there's color, there's light. It's all there. And that's when that energy field hits you, that you're like, so yeah, senses are huge.
So how you mentioned art, right? You've mentioned art quite a few times, and I know you're a fine artist yourself. So how do you select art? And how is art a part of the components that you're selecting art to help people with their well-being? How do you do that for a client? Like, walk me through that, what that looks like.
What are they saying? So you look at your vantage points, right? You walk into your space
Right.
and here you're this way.
Yep.
We go on a ride with our eyes. We don't want too much because that's a little too chaotic. We want to land. And when we land, we want it to be pleasant. We also need that art to remind us of something, tell us to do something, a memory, trigger a state of being. Say it's a landscape and you love the mountains. Say you have a house in Wyoming and you're on the East Coast and you love looking out your window into the mountains. We would put a spectacular painting or photograph or whatever medium you're going to respond to into that space that brings you to that place. That place makes you happy. That place feeds your molecules in a way. So when we do those pieces, we're speaking to this state, like, and you need to feel.
Did you get, I think you broke up for a minute. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think we're back now. I saw it. Right, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. We'll edit that. Don't worry about that. That's interesting. I mean, I have a room in my house that I've done that for, because I had a vacation that I went on years ago that was really fantastic, and I was with my mom, and we just had like a really great time, and it was on Outer Banks. And so they're in that room, there's little things, and it's not like a themed Outer Banks room or anything like that, but there are things in that room that remind me of the Outer Banks, and that art pieces and things that remind me of that vacation. But it's super subtle. No one would know that it's the Outer Banks other than me. There's like a little horse prints, and we were at, there was in Corolla where the wild horses could go on the beach, and there were dragonflies, and we have a picture of tons of these dragonflies, and they were dolphins, and there was just like, so there's a certain color in it that has the dolphin, like sort of that aqua, like, but it's a little bit more muted color. So things that just remind me of that trip instead of, and it does feel that way, very relaxing to me. That trip was very relaxing. It was like, I'm a very go person. I don't chill easily. My brain keeps going.
That's neuroaesthetics, Lori.
I know. I'm going on a trip tomorrow or Saturday, and Niall, you have to know I've already set up a time to go meet a designer.
Yep. Not surprised.
I have already set up time with the hotel to get a tour of their design plan. So, I can't stop. I can't stop myself.
But it's fun. I mean, if that's the way your brain operates, that's like the beauty of
yeah. I mean, it's still community. So I'm like, wherever I go, I feel like, oh, I should just go into our database and find out who in our database is there. And of course, when there's always people there, I'm like, oh, I should message them. They're community members, and I'm gonna be there.
Well, please come and see me.
I can't turn it off.
Please come and see me when you come to DC.
Yes,
you guys.
I would love it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it. I definitely would love that. I love your area, actually. There's so many great designers in the DC area that I think I love that area for design. And I love that you all have so many clients that love art. Because Mary Douglas Drysdale, she's constantly doing art projects. I mean, so I love that you guys have, good clientele for art. My industry that I came into, I came from the art industry before this industry. I worked in the printing industry and the fine art reproduction side. So I knew the inventor of the word giclée, and, was there during that process where that industry was sort of being made, So it's fascinating to me. So what advice can you give designers who are thinking, like, I really want to integrate neuroaesthetics into my practice? How do they even start?
Go to my website.
Go to your website. Okay, that's good. That's good. So do you have training materials there too?
We have a lot of blogs, and I actually have pages devoted to neuroaesthetics that run.
And you speak about this a lot at High Point, other trade events like you just mentioned. So this isn't just, they can reach out to you and you can give them some of the language to start learning what they need to learn to start figuring out how to unlock this for their
Please
clients,
do.
right?
Please do reach out to me. Designers reach out to me. I get emails all the time. We get DMs all the time. I love, Lori, honestly, I think we have a branding problem. I think designers have a little bit of situation that we need to correct sooner than later, preferably. And
I agree too. I think that it's honestly, there are people out there that think designers just go buy furniture and go buy stuff.
It's sad.
That's it.
It's wrong. And I am devoted to our community. I love designers. We are smart and talented and creative. And for us as an industry, I want to do what I can do to help you, to help the client, to help the builders, to help the architects understand our relevance in society and our value. And if you are in a space, then you need a professional interior designer to design that space. And no, the next door neighbor cannot do it. I'm sorry. But here we go.
Right.
And study and stand confidently in your ability. And if you don't know, study. Go read, start with my website. Read all the blogs, read the tab, read about the brain and the nervous system. Get the basics down just for yourself. Even if you know, lean in or back away. Even if you know to identify those things from your clients. If they put something down, they don't like it. It's out of there. If they hold it for a couple minutes, and then if they walk around with it, they love it. Home run, done deal. Work that in. Let's move along. So mind your time, mind your vocabulary, mind your communication, be on their team. And then there are books, we're all working. We all have stuff going on. We have our families, we have our friends, we have stuff. So if you can read a couple pages of a book, that's great.
Or listen, audiobook, get the audio version if you have to.
It's real. It's real. Jump, follow me on LinkedIn. We talk to people all the time. We post on the scientists and the researchers and the mathematicians. The mathematicians tell us about patterns and fractals. We want to know. So, hang out with me for a little bit and I'll tell you, I'll guide you in that direction for neuroaesthetics. And then you can jump from there, see where you want to go, what you want to do.
Right. And you have to always remember that, this is going to also, it's more than just learning about the aesthetics that you're offering the client. It's also learning about their physiological responses. And that helps you be a better salesperson, a better business person, and understanding where your business can go with adding that value to the client, because ultimately they want value for the money that they're providing. And this is this is included in your expertise, so it's not just space planning, it's understanding how they navigate the space and understanding how their physiological responses to the space will improve their lives. And I think that's really phenomenal.
Thank you.
That's huge. That's huge.
It is
And
huge. It is huge.
I know for a fact and have listened to lots of designers who've implemented this process, and it really has changed the lives of their clients. And they're, like you said, raises, promotions, making more money, losing weight, having a better relationship with their children, having less fights at home. Yeah, and their spouses. This is an actual game changer for the client. It's like learning the psychology of the client as well. I mean, we all know that designers are constantly being said, told they feel like they're the psychologists in the room too, like where they're managing the emotions of their client. But this is the next step where you're reading what they're not saying, but how they're reacting, and how their small little micro reactions are an indication of what direction you should be going, because it's not sometimes obvious. They could say, I love blue, but the way they're acting to blue might not be, the same as what they say. So it's these little tricks too that you're learning that can give you a better outcome long term. So I love that. I love the direction of this. And I think that more and more education needs to come to market and beyond for interior designers to implement this into all of their practices. So I think it's wonderful that you're doing
Thank
this.
you, Lori. We'll be at Fall Market too. Our spring panel was standing room only. And we'll be at Fall. We'll be there in the fall at the point.
Wonderful. Yeah. It's so refreshing, and I love that the designers have this opportunity to learn from other designers, and thank you for volunteering your time to teach.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that this, after we get this edited, it'll be out in about 2 weeks. We will make sure that all of our designers have links to your site and can follow you on all the platforms. I actually made years ago, I think a year ago, a little PowerPoint guide sort of thing to neuroaesthetics for a brand. So I'll throw that in as a freebie for everybody so that you can kind of get a first glance idea of what this is and how you can implement it for your business. And we'll do a lot of, promoting of this, because it's such a great thing that you're doing. It really will improve lives, and not just for interior design clients, but I think for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
Thank you, Niall.